Good morning everyone and welcome to this first video of a series dedicated to the bushhopper project. Every project starts with an idea, but this one starts with a question. Is it possible to build a simple, affordable bushplane without extreme engines, oversized landing gear and so an unlimited budget? This is the bushhopper project and here we'll find the answer. The goal of this project is to convert a Weedhopper into an aircraft that can operate off airport or from poorly prepared runways. Nothing extreme. No large rocks or hardcore operations. We don't wanna land on boulders or push limits just for the sake of it. On top of that, I wanted an aircraft with the widest possible field of unobstructed view. I've never liked airplanes where, while flying, all you can see is a cockpit full of instruments. It must be able to fly slowly, and it must be a side-by-side two-seater. I'm happy to sacrifice some performance in order to better share my passion for flying with other people. All of this within the budget of a normal salaried person. Someone who loves aviation but still pays a mortgage every month. Looking at some of the most affordable and minimal bushplanes on the market, such as the Top Rudder or Dan Reynolds Chinook, one thing becomes clear. The key to affordability is lightness. We all love watching videos of huge airplanes like the Mol M5 with massive engines and 35-inch bush wheels landing on big rocks. But then you realize that you need €250,000 to achieve that. At that point, aviation starts to feel like something quite reserved for wealthy people. I disagree on that and want to go in the opposite direction. A very simple aircraft made entirely of aluminum, very light, robust enough, with a large wing area. Speed, aerodynamics, efficiency, aesthetics, comfort and payload, those are all important factors, but for this project they are secondary. And if you want to cut costs in a project, you must renounce to something, because everything is a trade-off in aviation. Building an aircraft completely from scratch would have been fascinating. But it would also have taken at least 1 or 2 years. That would mean spending every weekend building instead of flying. I wanted to fly as soon as possible and then improve the aircraft gradually over time, minimizing downtime. After some research on the used market, I found this beautiful aircraft, a Weedhopper in need of restoration for only €1,500. I immediately fell in love with it. But why this ultralight? First of all, the low purchase cost leaves a lot of margin for future modifications. Second, it is almost entirely made of aluminum and extremely light, but yet sturdy. Ready to fly, it weighs about 160 kilograms or 350 pounds. The engine is mounted high, which provides an unobstructed field of view. Exactly what I was looking for. All the essential parts of the aircraft, in yellow, are built around a single central boom. This makes the structure simple and easy to modify. The lower structure, highlighted in red, is made entirely of aluminum tubes and is very robust. Finally, the propeller has a large ground clearance, a crucial feature when operating on unprepared terrain. In the end, I decided to bring her home, bought from a very kind gentleman in the northeast of Italy. But this purchase would have been possible without the help of my old good friend Lorenzo, who allowed me to store it in his grandfather's old barn. Over the past few months, that barn has become a sort of bat cave. For now, the main priority is to bring the aircraft back to airworthy condition and enjoy this beautiful machine. By flying it, I'll be able to understand its behavior and characteristics. At the same time, I'll be working on a number of interesting modifications. I initially wanted to make the wings foldable to simplify storage and transport. However, the Weedhopper uses a delta wing with a very large chord, about 2.5 meters. Folding is simply not possible. Instead, the wings will be made easily detachable and stored on a dedicated trolley that I will show you in a separate video. A windshield will definitely be added. The weight increase is minimal, while the benefits are significant. Better aerodynamics and much more comfortable flying, especially because of the propeller is right in front of the pilot. On the stock aircraft, the control stick is mounted on the main wheel axle. This places it very far back at hip level and in an uncomfortable position. Its movement is also limited by the occupants. The solution is to move the stick forward using an aluminum support. Currently, braking is actuated by a bicycle style lever mounted on the control stick. Both wheels brake together. The plan is to design a new stainless steel pedals, allowing independent braking with feet. This will significantly improve ground handling in difficult conditions. One of the major weaknesses of the Weedhopper is that it only has two control axes. This makes crosswind operation unsafe and limits control in challenging situations. The project includes building ailerons that also functions as flaps, using a control mixing system. Vortex generators. These small devices create vortices on the upper surface of the wing. They delay the airflow separation and delay the stall. They are light, relatively inexpensive, and there is no real reason not to install them. The aircraft currently has a single 35-liter fuel tank, placed in an aerodynamically unfavorable position. The idea is to build a new aluminum supports and install two separate 30-liter tanks behind the seats. This allows the pilot to visually monitor fuel level directly. The graduated markings on the tanks are, quite simply, the cheapest, lightest and most reliable fuel gauge that exists. Landing gear. Tricycle or taildragger? This is where things get controversial. I had to choose between keeping a tricycle landing gear, like the current configuration, or converting to a taildragger one, like the most bushplanes out there. Taildraggers offer major advantages on rough terrain and a much more appealing look. But it also requires a complete redesign of the fuselage. And taildraggers are more challenging during takeoff and landing, especially with a crosswind. The tricycle gear instead would be easier, safer and cheaper. I followed my heart though and chose the taildragger option. It would be the perfect occasion to learn myself how to fly a taildragger too. In Italy there is no such thing as a tailwheel endorsement required for ultralights, but still is something that generally pleases a small corner of our pilot's ego. Anyway, this will be one of the last and most substantial modifications. It will completely transform the aircraft, maybe into something like that. This conversion will be a huge challenge, and that's exactly why it's so appealing. While doing that, I will also try to reduce the frontal cross-section of the aircraft. The goal is to make it lighter, stronger, and more aerodynamic. I will try to bring the seats closer together and raise them toward the main boom as much as possible. The aircraft currently uses a Rotax 503 single ignition, single carburetor. This model of engine was produced until 1991, which means it is even older than myself. Even though it has been checked, we'll talk about it in a separate video, it is still an old design and producing only 48 horsepower. For now, I plan to keep it, hoping it will last a long time. In the future, I would like to replace it with something better. Possibly a Rotax 582 producing 65 horsepower, or a more modern Simonini Victor 2, which at almost the same weight as the 503 can deliver a stunning 100 horsepower. That would turn this aircraft into something truly insane. That's all I got for today. Thank you for your interest in this project. In the end, I would mention and thank the website www.ualaviator.com, an incredible source of information about the Weedhopper that helped me a lot to understand the machine and get to this point. I hope you'll want to share your advices or thoughts, or simply follow its development and join me on this adventure. Thanks again, and see you next time.